So, when I was growing up, my family had subscriptions to two magazines, Skeptic magazine and Skeptical Inquirer magazine. Now, this was the Bible Belt. So my friends would come over and wonder why I read such heretical publications. And once we had a subscription to one, was the other one really necessary? But we were nothing if not completists in our atheism. Now, growing up in North Carolina, the son of a lapsed Protestant mother and an ethnically Jewish but militantly atheist father meant not only reading somewhat out of the ordinary magazines, but also being excluded from the religious youth groups that were staples of my high school social scene. So the Christians had Young Life, with their summers out at the ranch in Colorado that they'd come back from with frosted tips and inside jokes that I'd laugh along with even though I didn't understand. And my Jewish friends had BBYO, with their lock-ins and their movie nights and their cute Jewish girls with seductively high GPAs. But me, I didn't have anything. Which is why I was so excited when my friend Andrew came up to me one day and said, "Hey Matt, why don't you ever come to any BBYO stuff anyways?" Well, I have the wrong parent, and I don't really believe in God, so I don't think I'm really like Jewish. Oh, come on, man. You're Jewish enough for North Carolina. And so I joined. And pretty soon, I was at the lock-in, staying up till 3 a.m., making jokes with Sarah Fishbein about our lame physics teacher. And I was at game day at the bottom of the human pyramid, right under Hannah Sternberg. It was awesome. And all through these events, everybody kept talking about convention. Convention, this annual gathering of all the BBYO chapters from across North Carolina for a weekend of fun, games, celebration, and competition. But from the way they talked about it, it was clear that convention was more than just a weekend together. Convention was some sort of bizarro world for North Carolina high school Jews where up was down, left was right. There was a basketball tournament we could actually be competitive in, and being Jewish was cool. This would clearly be the best chance I had to fully actualize into my newfound religious and social identity. So the months passed, I kept going to events, and pretty soon we packed up the Plymouth Voyagers and headed down to Charlotte for a convention. But once I got there, it became clear pretty quickly that I was in over my head a little bit. It was like everybody had an Uncle Avi in Israel, and I was expected to know my Haifa from my Eilat. And all of the sessions began with a Hebrew prayer. Now, I didn't know a single word of Hebrew, but I didn't want anybody to know, so I just sort of mumbled along with like the three famous Israelis that I knew, like Ariel Sharon, Benjamin Netanyahu, Ariel Sharon, Benjamin Netanyahu, and hope nobody would notice. And worst of all, the first time they handed out the prayer books, I looked over at Andrew. Hey man, I think mine's misprinted. The page numbers are going from the back to the front. You're kidding, right? That's how Hebrew works. Yeah, I'm just kidding. So it was not going well. But I knew that the apex of convention was a sketch competition where every chapter would present some sort of skit or song for all of the members from across the state and for judges to try to get bragging rights for the next year. Now, I had done this sort of thing before, so I figured this was my best chance at redemption. I would help write it, I would get up there, perform it, and bask in the glory of my newfound social peers and religious brethren. So I went up to Andrew. Hey man, what are you thinking of doing for the sketch competition? Oh man, yeah, I know you're good at that sort of thing. You got this. Me by myself? I'm here with 12 other Jewish guys and nobody can help me with comedy writing? How is that even possible? But, okay, sure, all the more glory for me. So I get to work. I know, I have some aviator sunglasses, and I know somebody has a bomber jacket lying around, so I figure a Top Gun theme would work well. I quickly rewrite the words to the famous scene in the bar where they're singing the songs to each other, but change it to a bunch of Jewish references, and it's about losing that loving schmearing. And I know it's kind of on the nose, but I figure it's a pretty sympathetic audience. So I go back over to Andrew, and I tell it to him, and he says, "Oh man, that's great. Dave's gonna do a great job performing this." What, Dave? Dave Shanowski? Dave Shanowski's gonna perform this, Dave? The kind of goofy guy from Swim Team? Yeah, Dave does it every year. He's a great performer. Well, and so I'm just thinking, what? Dave Shanowski is gonna sing my song? Dave Shanowski is gonna take my jokes? Hannah Sternberg is gonna watch Dave Shanowski be the mensch you don't find every day? Well... So I figured, okay, I got to go along with it. Fine, and everybody will know that I wrote it anyways. So if he does a good job, all the better for me. So I find Dave, I teach him the song, and then pretty soon evening rolls around. He gets called up to the stage to perform, and he gets up there and he kills it. He's running around the stage. He's singing my songs. He's saying my Jewish jokes. He's dropping down to his knees at the end, and when he hits the last note, the crowd goes wild. Literally hundreds of Rachels and Benjamins are on their feet screaming and hollering. And I hop up out of my chair, ready to accept my rightful place at the top of the social hierarchy of North Carolina high school Jews who are at this particular convention. And I look over, and I see Sarah Fishbein running up, and I open my arms for a hug, and I see her. She runs right by me to hug Dave Shanowski. And I raise up my hand for the high five, looking for Andrew, and I see him over there giving a high 10 to Dave Shanowski. And I see Hannah Sternberg, eyes locked, practically drooling over Dave Shanowski. And I'm left on the outside looking in, once again, realizing that I am not, in fact, Jewish enough for North Carolina after all. Once again, feeling sort of vaguely, religiously, and socially out of place. But I guess, when you think about it, that's the most Jewish thing I could have felt after all. Thank you.
Everything kosher, kosher, kosher. Everything kosher, kosher, kosher. Everything kosher, kosher, kosher. Everything kosher, kosher, kosher.